the course of this weekend, we're going to have some very successful top leaders give you a 5-minute mini seminar. So the first one that we're going to have come up is a person that's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's been very successful for a long period of time, about the same length of time as I've been involved in the profession. He's been involved in the profession. We've shared the stage many times. I've learned a lot from him. We've learned a lot together. We've traveled the world together. Please give it up for my friend, Mr. Randy Schroeder. Come on up.
Everyone, thank you very much. And Mr. Worry, thank you. I could spend my time simply edifying and congratulating all that has taken place so far, especially Eric. Congratulations for bringing together an industry. It's an extraordinary service. But I contemplate what would I like to have learned when I first walked in the doors to a function like this. And I remembered yesterday. It was February 1st of 1990 when I first walked in a function like this one. And when I walked in, something intangible that could not be measured happened. My spirits were lifted. How did that occur? It occurred because I walked into a room full of people who were not competing one with another, to a room full of people whose mutual success is what created the success of all. I walked in a room yesterday and my spirits were lifted, and it brought to mind again why it is that I fell in love with this industry back that day, February 1st of 1990, and why I believed then and I believe today that the fundamental principles governing this great industry, direct selling network marketing, are in fact superior to those that govern conventional business. Now, I contemplate what would I like my newest member to know, what would I like any of you to know if you're new, or if you're struggling, or if you're like me, you're neither new nor struggling, but want to recall what about this is so tremendous. And I thought perhaps the greatest value that I could add was to describe to you very, very quickly the 4 biggest mistakes that I've made in this industry. Why? Because it does me no harm to recall them. That puts me a step further away from making that mistake again. And second, because just perhaps one person can likewise avoid it. Nathan yesterday said, the truth is the truth and it's good enough. Today I've learned that lesson. It's emblazoned upon me. Today the truth is in fact the truth and it is good enough. That wasn't true when I walked in the door. When I walked in the door February 1st, 1990, I didn't know it, other people did, but basically I was a walking character defect. And when you pour a bunch of money on a walking character defect, it just gets worse. But what occurred was I was introduced once by a well-intended person who said, this is Randy Schroeder. He's a new diamond in our business and he's earning X. Well, what he said was about 3 times my income. And you know what? There's something with me, maybe not with you, but there's something about a lack of truth. The first time something is said that is not specifically and exactly and rigorously true takes my breath away. But I didn't stop it. I didn't say, no, that's not so. I didn't tell the lie, but I became complicit in it by not stopping it at that moment. The second time it was said, it didn't feel quite as bad. You know what? It wasn't too long before I said it. The first mistake that I made was being less than truthful, not less than truthful, telling a lie about the amount of money that I was making in the business. People joined the business based upon a lie. There was a long, long time when people would say, not Randy Schroeder, don't join him, he doesn't tell the truth. It took a long time to overcome that. It was painful. Today, I tell the truth, not to avoid pain, but on the opposite side, I want to be more happy more of the time. And I've discovered the only way to be more happy more of the time is to live a life of transparency and to tell the truth. The truth is good enough and it works. It works here and works in all parts of our lives. The second big mistake, we're not to mention names of our current company, so I won't, but I became a new skin distributor in February of 1990. And I brought people into the business and I told them, do this with me. Together we can generate an income that lasts the rest of our lives. Permanent income, I said. You know what? Permanent income requires permanent commitment. The truth is, Nu Skin was doing $300 million when I joined them. Today, they're doing a lot more than that. Nu Skin was right. I was wrong. I left. Permanent income requires permanent income. Permanent income requires permanent commitment. I should be a Nu Skin distributor today. That's where I started. I told you, if you join me, we together can build a business that lasts forever. When I got angry, when my ego got upset, I chose to leave. And then I went to those very people who joined me. I said, do you want to do it with me? And if they said no, I went right down the line of them and I tore their business apart. The exact contrary opposite of what a leader is and should be, but Ivan, that's not the first time or the only time that's happened in this industry, is it? There are no new mistakes. There are new people making old mistakes and old people making old mistakes. Once again, I speak to me and I let you listen. I'd like to avoid ever making those mistakes again. Permanent income requires permanent commitment. I today believe that my role as a leader is very simply this. To the extent that my company is paying checks, if they're paying checks and shipping products that are good products and checks are being computed correctly, my role as a leader is to help the company overcome whatever moment of travail may come. My role is to honor the relationships, those people who join me. Permanent income requires permanent commitment. The next one, man, this is a painful one for me to talk about. It's the most personal of the bunch. There is power in the stage. When I became a distributor in this industry in February of 1990, I was married. There is power in the stage. Once again, I was a walking character defect, and what I discovered was that from up here on the stage, I could, if I chose, I could pick the woman out there who was as sick as me, and it didn't matter if she was married, if I was or not, we could find our way to the bar and someplace else that night. And it happened again and again and again for a long, long time. You know what? We can't get the right outcome by doing the wrong thing. We just can't. I heard other people talk about integrity and talk about morals, building a business that lasts, that stands the test of time. That demands that we conduct ourselves a certain way. That demands that I conduct myself a certain way. I abused the power of the stage, and I engaged in relationships that were completely wrong for a long time. Now, today, the water's safe with me, but you know what? It took an awful long time before people would say, oh, no, don't get involved with Randy Schroeder. He's just going to leave the company. He doesn't tell the truth, and watch out for your wife or girlfriend. That's the truth. You know, that went on for a long time. Those are hard lessons. It took a long time for me to overcome them. And then the last one was likewise a huge challenge for me, and that was the recognition that I've got to get this mic out of my hand, Eric. I've got to pass the baton of leadership to somebody else. You know, for so long, ego ruled the day, and I talk about transferring the baton of knowledge and leadership to somebody else, but subtly and without my even knowing, I was repressing the growth of others because it was so important to me to retain this position. In fact, I created a training program once called Recruit, 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 the only sure way to success. Today, a more mature view, I think, is this: recruit, train, retain, and then fully transfer the baton of knowledge and leadership to someone else. I think the greatest measure of success in our industry is that if I'm not working, nobody knows, because the baton of leadership has been totally, completely, and absolutely transferred to another. My time is spent. I have to do this. I believe all the way to the center of my being this is a good thing and that we should all do it, and I want to prove that to you. How many of you have had a positive product experience with your company? If you had a positive product experience, stand up, please. Had positive product experience? How many of you have had any income experience at all with your company? Raise your hand again. How many of you have developed a new skill or have perhaps confronted a character flaw and taken it to a point of neutrality, maybe even moving a past flaw to a point of strength? Have you done that? Have any of you developed new relationship skills? Have any of you become less lonely? Have any of you, in fact, discovered that you're more happy more of the time? Has that occurred for any of you? That's occurred for me. That's why I love the industry. My favorite scripture is in the book of Hebrews. It talks about the great hall of faith and all the Old Testament prophets and all the things that they experienced. And then the beginning of the next chapter says, stay standing, please. Stay standing. The next chapter says, therefore, my friends, being surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us then keep our eyes fixed upon Jesus, the Christian God, easily avoiding those snares of sin that are placed before us, and run with endurance this race. Well, I would convert that to this moment. All those of you who are wondering, how deeply can you be committed? How much can you be involved? This is your cloud of witnesses in this extraordinary industry we call direct selling or network marketing. Therefore, my friends, being surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us run with endurance the race was set before us, easily avoiding those snares of discouragement, of despair, of I can't, trading them to I will, keeping our eyes fixed upon God, however you see God, and run this race all the way to the very end. And know this: if you don't know you can, I know you can. To the very center of my being, I know there is within you a spark of the divine. When fully harvested, there's nothing that can stop you. God bless you all. Very best.
Wow. He just did 2 hours and 5 minutes. Some speakers would stretch that. Actually, if we just slowed the tape down, it would be about an hour. Something like that. Pretty good, huh? Some powerful stuff, some good lessons for leadership there. Some amazing candid honesty. I appreciate you for being that vulnerable to share the mistakes that many leaders experience. Thank you for doing that.